You see, if you look at what is happening in, say, the education sector, where teachers are being terrorized in places like
in the
northern part of Kenya. You see, you will move from ethnic profiling, and soon you will start having religious profiling. You know, so these are things that we need to nip in the bud. And therefore, my take, and I repeat, that the Haji Steering Committee should live up to its mandate.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when we look at then the Haji Steering Committee coming in, I would argue that just from the structuring of the way the rallies are being conducted, they're very akin to political rallies. So it's leaders, political leaders talking at the audience rather than it being a debate or a conversation that is ongoing. So would you say that we have failed even from just the way we are conducting the actual events? Should they go back to the drawing board and just restructure it to a different format that would allow more of a conversation environment?
You know, it's interesting you observe that, because you see the actual questions have not even been formulated. All right? This is a process where views are supposed to be solicited and submitted in a structured manner, and then the experts would craft them into some piece of legislation that would form the referendum question. But what we are seeing is politicians beginning to jostle for recognition. We are beginning to see politicians thinking that this is about a few individuals. You know, this is the folly of the Kenyan politician. Right? So to me, if we want to get things right, we need to get the Haji Committee to work. You know, I was looking at it when somebody was saying that in talking about abrogating the rights of to property and where you can stay, something that is already enshrined in the Constitution. So if you speak against that, even if you say that they're historical injustices, you do not speak to it by threatening and saying certain things. Because here we have an MP like Junet Mohammed. He has been elected in the middle of an
area that is
where one would say this is totally a different area. Now, are you telling us that Junet Mohammed does not deserve to be an elected member in that place? Surely that is not an argument that can hold in Suba area. You know, Suna. You cannot wake up and say that the MP in Meru who was elected does not deserve to be there, and yet his family has grown up there. And you can give examples in not too long ago, Awiti Bolo was the MP in Mombasa, Nyali. So do you say because he's not a Mijikenda, he should not be elected there? We saw part of this tension in Wasingishu. There was Kevin Okwara who wins a Jubilee ticket. But when it comes to the election, they switch it and they say that because he's not, he doesn't speak a certain language, he should not be elected. You know, so these are things that we must be very clear cannot stand going into the future.
Now, and they actually go against the very nature or the spirit of the BBI initiative. So it's quite counterproductive when you hear a leader saying that we want to congratulate Francis Atwoli for the fact that despite buying land here, he did go back. When he wants to talk leadership, he goes back home. I think it goes against the very nature of the BBI calling for unity. And speaking of some of the issues that we might be overlooking, you've talked about historical injustices, and And in the Ma community, despite the wrong way in which you feel they're approaching it, there's some of the issues that really affect them from, pre-colonial times, such as land, and some issues that cut across even not just the Ma community, even the people at the coast have a lot of historical injustices and land issues that need to be addressed. How would you, well, we can listen to one of your comments on this issue, and then you can tell us further how you would like this particular matters addressed, rather than certain inciting, sentiments being thrown over them, but there is a way that you feel they should be addressed. Let's listen in.
Mimi naungana na Wama kwamba swala nyeti la mashamba la ardhi ni lazima tulizingatie na tutatue. We cannot be talking about it all the time. Kwa hivyo kwa memorandum yetu ya ANC tukasema kwamba tunataka tuzingatie sana ile TJRC report na Ndungu report na report zingine ambazo zinatoa mambo kuhusu ardhi ili haki ipatikane.
Right, this is what you were saying.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you, you could just give us more sentiments on what you feel that should be the approach towards dealing with this issue.
I think the TJRC report has done a good job in outlining some of these things and how they can be resolved. And let me just say that I have also a background in matters of land and land economics.
Right.
Okay. And the way I see it in Kenya, part of the crisis that we are facing now is not just necessarily historical. Part of this is more recent, in the sense that we have been faced with a lands department that has taken too long to issue title deeds where they're supposed to be issued. We have taken too long to have a lands department that conducts its surveys and sorts out land-related issues for too long. We also have a judiciary or a process where land matters have been hanging in courts for too long.
Yes.
Now, cumulatively, with time, these become a juggernaut around us. All right? So if institutions were working, the Ministry of Lands was working and so forth, then there would be more upfront in sorting out some of these issues. And I'll give you an example, for instance. Not too long ago, you saw